This is Admiral Biatch to base camp. It seems the stormtroopers have gone on strike, and I have no experience with this type of shit. Who should I call for help?
It's the V to the A to the D-E-R. Reconstructing the Death Star with my slick suede suit that's black like tar. Fucking you up no matter who you are.
Tell the motherfuckers about the skip dark side.
Dark side.
Pull up on your planet, Death Star, drive by. Them evil rebels, cause the skills ain't shit.
My TIE fighter zigzag stay lit.
Oh shit! Yoda on the scene, 900-year fiend, smoking data bar green. Bitches on my tip like Lando on liquor.
Oh, you're just jealous cause my black dick's thicker. Yo, tell him Chewie last night I had Leia all drunk, one to do me.
Shut the fuck up, man. Leia's my sister. The only thing you're getting is a beat-off blister.
Luke, use the Force before intercourse, but Luke, don't forget, bitches ain't nothing but hoes and tricks.
Obi-Wan, I'm the Top Gun. The chosen one, hotter than both sons. Vader ain't shit, his head's cut up and split. He's slower than the first Pentium chip.
Shit. The one brings it worse in this fucking universe.
Rebel! You know we'll fucking win, cause we'll fight till the end.
I can feel the anger dwelling within you.
Rebel!
You also feel Vader's dick in you, biatch!
Piecza condona. Gista magiera. Bunda la gista. Canto Jabba.
Jabba, you ain't nothing but a fat-ass slug. Fake gold chains, you sorry-ass thug. Sitting in your palace with your blue-headed whore. Trapdoor to the Rancor.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. I'm a gay man's golden fantasy. Programmed for homo ecstasy. 10 million forms of gay positioning. For my golden shower, you must pay a fee. But R2D2 gives it up for free. R2D2, what's your language? Always having sex with robotic strangers.
Misa like to drink and smoke all night. Misa like to fight and fuck your wife. Misa don't care cause Misa so dumb. Misa will fuck you with me thumb. Yusa wants a Misa cause a Misa wants some. Yusa wants a Misa cause a Misa wants some. Yusa wants a Misa cause a Misa wants some. Misa wants some cause Misa wanna come.
Awesome sauce! Sorry for the distraction. I have a alarm clock going off in the other room that distracted me. This is Blind Item Wonders, the Comic Pimp. This is Awesome Sauce Radio. I hope you're having a beautiful, blessed, and amazing Wednesday night. Before we bring in our special guest and get Beckered, I'd like to shout out a couple of the sponsors for tonight. I'd like to give a shout out to the official pizzeria, the Marco's Pizza, 1926 Union Valley Road, Butte, New Jersey, 07421. West Norwood's greatest and longest pizzeria in town. 46 years in business. 973-728-1344. DelMarcosPizza.com. Tell them by them sent you. Del Marcos is awesome. Want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Comic Pop Collectables. You can find them on eBay at Comic Pop Collectables. You can get all the variants we will be talking about there tonight. On the website, you can also get them from him at any of the conventions he will be at, but we'll bring him on in a second. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to www.bigclutchcomics.com. Love Big Clutch. Clutch, thanks for all the support and love that you show the show. And we'll be in touch. www.bigclutchcomics.com. Also, August 29th, Super New Jersey Comic Fest, Iron Peak Sports and Event Center, 147 Mountain View Road. The best Mallrats reunion you need. John Romita Jr., great guest, great selection. Super Jersey Comic Fest.com. Tell them what I'm sent you. Now that I rambled through the sponsors and the special setups, I would like to bring in tonight's special guest, one of a friend, a mentor, someone who probably wants to kick me upside the head. Lauren Becker of Comic Book Collectables. What's up, sir?
How you doing?
Cannot complain. No, so how have things been since the last time you've been on?
Oh, things have been pretty good. Business is way up. I mean, you can say it's absolutely up, if you know what I mean.
Yes, let's show the first picture of the night. Speaking of absolute, Batman. Absolute Batman 24. Who is the spy?
So the cover is done by Pablo Collar. He was the artist of My Adventures of Superman, and he did some of the artwork in DC Sonic the Hedgehog, the miniseries.
That's amazing. How did this variant come about?
Well, Absolute Batman is pretty much based in manga. So it just made sense to have something manga oriented for.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. Okie doke. What convention is this dropping at?
I don't know why, but he's muted.
Let's see if we can get him unmuted.
He's not even muted. It just cut out.
That is odd.
No.
What is with the tech issues tonight?
Hold on, I'm checking. No. Let me.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry for the technical issues.
No worries.
So when will this be dropping convention-wise?
So the first, it's going to actually come out the week of the Baltimore Comic Con. We'll have copies there, and Scott Snyder is actually going to be at the show. So if you come to Baltimore, I'll have copies that you could potentially get signed. Also, the CGC will be there to do on-site grading. So we will actually have copies graded and ready to sell after the show.
That's amazing. When is Baltimore this year?
The end of September. So I want to say, and don't quote me because I don't have my calendar in front of me. I want to say the 26th through the 28th, if that's correct.
All right, cool. I might actually try to make it up there for one of these years.
Okay.
For one of these years, for first time in a couple of years, it doesn't interfere with anything.
And then we'll have our copies also at the New York Comic Con, which Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta, I believe, is going to be there.
That is amazing.
The Baltimore Comic Con is September 25th to the 27th.
Okay, so I wasn't too far.
Thanks, JB.
Gotcha.
That's cool. What is the print run on the trade dress and the Virgin?
So the trade dress is limited to 2,000, and the Virgin variant is limited to 1,000.
All right, sweet. And the price points were, I think, what were they? 19 on the trade dress and 40 for the set.
It's $20 for the trade, and then $30 for the Virgin.
Okay. All right, cool.
And then
So you already put them up on eBay. How are they doing online so far?
they're doing very well. Over the weekend while I was at Fan Expo Chicago, my phone was going off every 2 minutes selling copies. So right now it's doing exceptionally well. I think it will start selling very well once the book actually comes out that week. So, and then of course, Baltimore and New York, I am expecting to sell the copies that I'm bringing to the show. They should be sold out at each show, I should say.
And I would expect nothing less than an absolute Batman. The industry's way to print money at this point.
It's true. That one of the reasons that we did this. I'm very selective on what exclusives that we do. I know a lot of companies and a lot of stores do exclusives all the time, like almost every week, or if not every month. But this seemed like the best time to do it, considering that it's the first appearance of the Bat, or the absolute rendition of Batgirl, and it's in between two major shows, so I think it's going to do very well.
Yes, and I am like absolute Batman. You don't even have to twist my arm to read it anymore. It's the first thing I read when it comes out.
Yeah, we order. So I used to own a store, but I sold it, and we just do online and shows. And I am ordering more copies of Absolute Batman than many of the stores around me combined.
Wow. Like I said, DC has really picked it up in the last 2 years with the entire Absolute line.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the lower tier Absolute sellers like Green Lantern and Flash are starting to get a little pick me up. Some of the storylines have started generating a little bit more interest. But it's all about Absolute Batman. The prices just continue to skyrocket.
Going back to variants past, JB, bring up the Mr. Art, I Am Cursed. I'm surprised you still have these in stock.
Well, the funny thing is we were just about out, and then as I was getting ready for another show, I found another case of the Danhausen variants, the regular one. We still have the foil ones left, but it was a very nice surprise to find that we still had extras of the Danhausen, because we sold a lot of them right after he got picked up by WWE.
Yeah, what do you think of his time in WWE so far?
So far, he is just killing it over there. He went from his debut, which was very lackluster from the crowd.
Let's repeat the gobbledygook in a different decade.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the consensus was nobody gets over on a wrestling show when they're introduced like from an egg or a coffin or something like that.
Yeah.
And Danhausen almost proved them wrong, because everybody was expecting, from my understanding, either The Rock or Jericho, and I was just like, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. Why would they travel from town to town in a wooden crate? Just that made no sense whatsoever. So, but the minute he was on Raw, his first segment on Raw, he caught on real quick. So
yeah, and then after that, he started cursing the Knicks and opponents of the Knicks, and I've been very, very entertained, and I'm also surprised he's still up on Cameo.
You know what? Danhausen knows the hustle. It's just that I'm surprised he has the time for a lot of this stuff. So not a lot of people know this. Well, so he used to shop at my store when he was a kid. And the way we reconnected was at C2E2 about 3 years ago. He was supposed to do a skit with CM Punk at somebody else's booth, but the owners of the booth didn't want them behind the counter because they didn't know who these guys were. So the showrunner asked, or I'm sorry, so Danhausen asked the showrunner, is there anybody you can think of that would actually do this? And he was like, well, I can talk to Lauren because he's a big wrestling fan. And Danhausen immediately was like, well, wait, Lauren Becker from Warp 9 Comics? Yeah, I used to shop at his store when I was a kid. Do you think he would do it? So they texted me, and I was just like, yeah, have him come by the booth in the morning, and we'll talk about it, see what he wants to do. So he came by, and then they both came by. Him and CM Punk came by about a half hour later, and we filmed the segment, and it was awesome.
CM Punk was forced to spend lots of human monies at your booth.
Yeah, it was a fun segment.
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times, and knowing how big of a wrestling fan you are, really brought a smile on my face.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. And actually, I saw CM Punk again this year. He was doing signatures at C2E2, and he was walking around the booths, and he came up to my booth, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're Danhausen's buddy," and he didn't buy anything this time, probably because he didn't know Danhausen anything, but he still looked at some stuff, and we talked for a minute or two before he had to leave.
That's so awesome.
So
yeah. So, do you have any fond memories of creating this variant with Mr. Morrison?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we gave Bill a lot of creative control. We just had to have him, make sure that the look for Danhausen was right, and it was. And what ended up happening was I ended up buying the artwork from Bill, and I gifted it to Danhausen, except for the prelim sketches. I kept those because I'm generous, but I'm not a philanthropist.
No, I hear that.
So I had to get some of my money back somehow.
Sweet. So if there's anyone in the comic book industry you can have the upper half of Beckerhausen curse, who would it be?
Oh, let's try to keep it positive. I mean, there's a lot of people that need to be cursed, but I'm trying to be a little bit positive this weekend.
Okay. All right. We're gonna focus on the very nice side of things. Got it.
Yeah.
What do you think of the current WWE product overall right now?
I'm loving it. I was watching Monday Night Raw on Monday, and that final segment with Solo Sikoa and LA Knight was just a masterpiece. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Looking to see what they did with the women's division right now, and I'm really enjoying what they're doing with Solo Sikoa right now too.
Yep, that whole thing is so far so good. So right now I am actually on the eBay site, which you could actually get to from our website at comicpopcollectables.com. It links to our eBay store. We are selling a majority of Danhausen's WWE merchandise that he sent to me.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a mental note that I need to buy one of those shirts.
Well, don't wait too long because I don't have those shirts left.
Like I said, I just need to go in the closet and see exactly how faded the one I have is.
Actually our best seller for his merchandise are the retro Ben Cooper masks. Those have been selling really quickly.
That's awesome. How did you wind up acquiring all of his pre WWE merch?
Well, it's kind of funny. He contacted me, and he was like, "So, just in theory, if I were to be signed to WWE, would you be willing to sell my pre-WWE merchandise?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, we can work something out. We can talk about it when I see you either at MegaCon or C2E2." And he was like, "Yeah, I won't be at either show." So I'm like, "Well, it's really not theory then, is it? You're actually being
Yeah,
signed."
and that was him. That was him telling you that he was signed without telling you he was being signed.
Right, and he kept the pretense up because he was supposed to he wanted to buy a few things for me, and he he got preoccupied. So I texted him. I was like, "Hey, do you still want these books?" And they were absolute Batmans. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I do. I definitely do want them. I'm sorry, I've had the flu." And this was like about a week or so before he what was it, Survivor Series that he debuted?
Yep.
Yeah, so I was just like, "Oh, okay, the flu, got it." But he's been really good about everything. I've been sending him checks every week, and the merchandise has been flying.
Sweet, sweet. So if anyone needs any pre WWE Dan Hausen merch, go to eBay / Pop Collectables and get your fill, man.
Thank you.
JB, bring up the next thing, which I believe is the Batman 50. So I didn't even know that this one of your variants existed until like 2 days ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was somewhat fun until the news hit that they weren't actually getting married, and then the sales plummeted.
Yeah, this is back when Mayhew was actually cool.
Yeah, I've got my issues per se with Mike, even though I've never met him. I've also got my issues right now with Mark Brooks's his take on variant covers.
Yeah, like I said, I got booted from his whatnot store. So
I'm sorry, what?
I think because I asked about about one of his Facebook posts
Mm-hmm.
about all the controversy he was causing a couple weeks back.
But you got banned?
Yeah, pretty much.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's just a whatnot. It's not like I got kicked out of someone cool like Life feels whatnot. That's something to brag about.
Well, no, because neither one of them. I mean, I have nothing against them personally, but to go in Brooks's case to go online and complain that he's not getting a cut of the profits, that's something that you need to negotiate with the person who's doing the exclusive and the publisher. And then to go right around and on his own website charge $50 for his trade dress exclusive unless you join his membership club, in which you get 10% off or something like that. Honestly, that doesn't sit very well with me.
Let's see, so 10%. You see, you're not even getting that good of a discount even with the 10% off.
Right. So I'm just like, you're complaining about the retailers ripping you off, which we're not, and then you go right around and just start charging an arm and a leg for your variant. So
yeah, like I said, it is what it is. But I guess the only real complaint I had with this book is that I was promised a wedding and I got nothing.
yeah, that wasn't a very. I talked to the person in charge of the variants, after that whole news came out, I'm just like, what is the return policy now? Well, there is no return policy. I'm like, well, we ordered this based on your, on the storyline that they were getting married. Now, if there was a change, if there was a change in the storyline, we as the retailers needed to know, especially when we're doing these exclusives. And his reaction was, well, we wanted to keep everything a secret. I go, well, congratulations.
Yeah,
You've caused a lot of hardship.
it's caused a lot of chaos. I know friends that were setting up doing mock weddings and serving their customers' wedding cake and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so I think at that point, the person who was in charge of the variant program was let go about a year or so later when everybody moved to California. And then he actually ended up working at Dynamite. And because of his non-transparency, I have stopped doing any exclusive through Dynamite. The last one, the first and only one we did was the Elvira
It was the Bill Morrison Elvira Harley Quinn, which came out last year at New York Comic Con.
Yep.
And my spider sense is telling me you had all the beautiful same issues that everyone who did an exclusive for that book had last year.
And what was the problem?
I just heard there was a lot of problems with delays and shipping and a few other, odd and end mishaps.
The delay is not what bothered me so much. Actually, I welcomed the delay because it came out just in time for New York Comic Con. So that worked out well. The issues that I had, besides the lateness of Elvira's people wanting to make changes, I remember Bill and I got an email stating that Bill needed to make changes with one of the pieces of the drawing within basically 12 hours. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to, or 24 hours, regardless. Otherwise the book wouldn't be going to press, and that I would have to wait for issue number 2. And my email to Dynamite was, if this is delayed because of Elvira's people being lazy and not being vigilant and making sure everything was right for her, then you might as well just cancel the thing, because I am not waiting for I'm not doing an exclusive for issue number 2. So miraculously, everything was approved. And I think Bill was actually able to fix the problem that Elvira's people saw. So that worked out okay. But they weren't very transparent on who paid Bill. So eventually, I got the notification that I had to pay Bill, which I have no issue with at all. But the price that I had, the variant price for, did not make me as much money because I had the extra expense of paying for Bill's art, which again, I was very happy to do, because I always want the artists of whatever exclusive I do to get paid, because they're not doing it for free.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to have Bill do my Danhausen and the Elvira book.
And 2 beautiful books, which will look great on any wall and or PC.
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, I love Bill, and Bill's a good friend of the show, and I eventually have to reach out to him eventually around the holidays to see if I can get a Christmas permit for someone.
Okay. Well, I know for a fact he'll be at Baltimore Comic Con.
Sweet. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna. Like I said, if I can make transportation work and find someone to be a pair of eyes.
Okay.
You know what? So, JD, I think we're up to the Star Wars #1.
Correct, my friend.
Yep, this is another one of my favorite variants that you put out over the years. I omitted the obvious one this time around.
Yeah, that was my very first sold out variant. We sold out of the color version. I actually still have some of the black and whites left, but that was my very first variant that I ever did with Marvel, and it was somewhat of a chore to have it done. So the original concept that I had for the variant, when I was talking with Marvel, I was like, all right, I want to do on the cover some kind of action shot with Groot as Chewbacca and Rocket Raccoon as Han Solo. And I was shut down. I was shot down. They were like, no, you can't mix the Marvel and the Star Wars characters, even though they were both owned by Disney. But
Yep.
all right, whatever. So can I do an homage cover? Sure. What would you like to do? And I was like, how about an homage to Amazing Fantasy 15 with Jedi Luke swinging across the desert barge with Slave Leia? And then that got shot down. They're like, well, you can't have Leia in the slave outfit, and you can't have Leia in Hera. Like, oh, okay. Well, can we do an homage to Tales of Suspense 39? And obviously, instead of Iron Man doing the armor, we'll have Darth Vader doing it. Oh, yeah, that would be great. And then after a minute, I was like, well, wait a minute. I actually see Jeremy Bullock at shows more often than I do David Prowse when they were both still alive. I go, so can we do Boba Fett? Marvel's reaction was like, well, he doesn't appear in the book, but we do have some covers with Boba Fett on it for other exclusives. So, yeah, that's not a problem at all. So that was a go. They gave me a list of artists, and I don't remember who my first choice was, but I mentioned in the email, I was like, oh, I want this person because I want to see if I can get the artwork from them. And Marvel's reaction was, yeah, you don't get the artwork. George Lucas gets first rights to all of that. So I was like, oh, well, then I don't want this artist. I want Alex Maleev to do the art, because Alex doesn't normally use paper or artboard. He uses digital. So my reaction to that was, well, I'll have Alex Maleev do it, because if I can't have it, then George Lucas ain't getting it. But then later on, I talked to Alex Maleev's art agent, Anthony Snyder, who's also an art dealer.
Yeah, I know Anthony. Shout out to Anthony's Comic Art.
Yep. And Anthony was like, oh, no, we had him do it on canvas. Like, oh, of course you did. And then he told me how much he sold it for. I was like, ah. So George Lucas wins again. But on the positive side, Alex did something with that book that no other Star Wars variant did. And he actually changed the font of the Star Wars logo to make it look like the old-fashioned Tales of Suspense logo.
That's awesome.
Which I honestly do not know how that got Lucas. But I was happy that it was done.
That's awesome. Like I said, it's my second. If I had to pick a top 3 comic pop collectibles variants to have, it would be the Jenny Prison Spider-Gwen,
that was a
the
good
Michael Allred Harley Quinn, and then this.
Well, honestly, my favorite that I've ever done, believe it or not, is the Danhausen variant. That was a lot of fun to work on. And when we had them doing the signings at Baltimore and New York, the lines were just
your booth at your Comic-Con was insane.
It was. Matter of fact, security had come by our booth and told us we had to control the line, otherwise it would shut us down. And all I had to do was just tell people not to block the aisle entrances, and pretty much everybody was very cool about that. But yeah, it was a great feeling to have like the hottest variant at the show at that time.
That's awesome. So you have Baltimore, then you have New York, and there are any other big shows after that you got in the works?
Well, there are a few. In between Baltimore and New York, I do the Great Ohio Toy Show in Xenia, Ohio. It's a 1 day toy show, but they get people from all over the world to come. I've had customers come in from Switzerland and Japan. It's basically 8 buildings filled with toys and collectibles. And
Wow.
I highly recommend it to anybody who's into that. It's only a 1 day show, but it is well worth the time. The last
Hopefully next year.
Well, so he runs it. They run it twice a year. The first time they run it is in March. Usually I want to say the second weekend of March, and then they run a fall show, which is usually the first weekend in October. So I will be there. It's insane. It's insane the amount of stuff that I find there, and it's insane the amount of stuff I sell there too.
Yeah, that's one of the shows where I just love watching your acquisition, messages on Facebook.
Then after New York, we have we'll be doing for the first time. It's called the Pittsburgh Comic Con, or I'm sorry, the Pittsburgh Comic Show. It's a pure comic show, so there won't be any.
So it's not a bullshit shitty con.
No, it's not. It's not Steel Shitty.
All right.
Although to be fair, for their December show, I don't know how they pulled it off. They did get J.K. Simmons to be there.
Yeah, I saw that. Shout out to my good friends over at Twin City Comics for making me aware of that was happening. Once I saw the convention, I was like, no thanks.
Yeah, I still have issues with them, even though I haven't done their show in I think it's almost been 3 years. But apparently other dealers are finding out that they're like, yeah, we don't need to do this show anymore.
I had one conversation with them, and I just trusted my gut, and I said, no, I don't need to, travel almost 9 hours.
No, it used to be a great show. But unfortunately, they put too much emphasis on the celebrity guests, not even on comic guests. They've had some comic guests there before that they barely promoted. I'm just like, you are wasting everybody's time. They had Kevin Eastman at their show, who normally doesn't do a lot of shows, and they had him there, and there was barely anybody there getting a signature or anything.
Wow! And normally Eastman, it's around the block.
Oh yeah, it's his line's usually immense. From my understanding, though, that was the time when I wasn't there. From my understanding, he was just twiddling his thumbs.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Steranko was there at one point, and he came up to me. I actually had dinner with him that weekend, but he came up to me on Saturday, where he should have just been busy as anything.
Wait, Steranko not busy on a Saturday? That's
oh yeah,
it doesn't happen very often.
He came up to me and he was just like, "Wow, this is not a comic show." I'm like, "No, it is not. I don't know what this show is anymore." I shouldn't really say anything disparagingly about any show, but they earned that.
Nah, actually, to me, they look like a further away option. They remind me of Rhode Island Comic Con in a lot of ways.
I have actually never been to Rhode Island Comic Con.
It's pretty much similar to still shitty, and that's me saying it, not Lauren. So just it's a lot of celebrity ghosts and a lot of cosplay ghosts, and it's just not really worth that time or the energy or the money to really set up there.
Hmm. Well,
if you're a comic dealer.
Well, then I'm glad I didn't go. But after the Pittsburgh Comic Show, we'll be at Motor City Comic Con. We'll have our massive 6-booth island. And then our last show of the year.
Is that the one show where it's everything but the kitchen sink?
Well, the thing that's good about I've been doing that show since it started back in 1986. So I'm one of the few original dealers who still set up at that show. But the good thing about that show, it's about a mile away from my warehouse. So if I run out of anything, I can just go to the warehouse and restock.
That's awesome.
And then after Motor City, we have our last big show of the year is GalaxyCon in Columbus.
Yeah, and once again, hopefully 2027 I can make it to that, because I haven't been to that in a very, very long time in any capacity.
Well, it's one of those shows where it started a little weak. Now, to be fair, I didn't do the first show. I did do the second show, and for not knowing what the crowd was like, I ended up doing relatively decent. And then once I figured out what the crowd was, we've done much better every year after that. So I'm hoping that we can keep up the momentum for that show in December.
Yeah, because my end of the year, of course, is New York Comic Con. Then I have the Exotic Expo, and then after that, I normally try to do something at Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And then Big Apple Comic Con. Normally rounds out my year.
I'm sorry, which show?
Big Apple Comic Con.
That's still going on.
The show that Michael Carbonaro runs.
I didn't realize that was still going on.
It's a decent show. It's about to celebrate its 30-year anniversary this year, now that I know what's happening.
Well, I remember I wanted to do his show years ago, like one of his first shows. And I left messages for him, and he was just not getting back to me until he saw me.
Yeah, he's known for that, unfortunately.
Until he saw me at a show with some of my stuff. He's like, "Oh, you should come do our show." And I just shook my head, closed my eyes, and shook my head. And I was just like, yeah, "Okay, Mike."
Yeah, normally I just wait for him. I even told him at this point, as I come out, if it's still happening, just make sure I at least have, if nothing else, I at least have a press class, please.
Well,
actually,
my friends at Hot Flip, they run a monthly show.
Yeah, they do. They just had Rob Liefeld there last month.
They asked me to come do it, but the logistics of me driving out there for a one-day show, I'm not sure if I can do that or not. I have to go when I have absolutely nothing to do and the weather is good.
Yeah, like I said, I found out about it and I was put on a waiting list and nothing ever came of it. So, I go to Charlie's Warehouse at least every other couple months. So I'll just eventually get to do one of his shows.
I probably will at some point too. If anything, I might have to just fly in with some stuff and just try to do it and see what happens.
Yeah, he runs a really, really nice, smooth, monthly show. He was starting to do twice a month, but I think he knocked out the Tuesday night show that he was doing for a bit.
Okay.
So he tried doing a show on a Tuesday night, and I just looked at the timing. I was like, that's not going to work for me to do the traffic and all that.
Oh well.
Yeah, rush hour New York traffic sucks. So just take it what it is.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I do not like New York traffic. So if I have to go through New York traffic in order to get to New Jersey, I might I love Charles and everybody
Yeah,
there.
you might Becker like 45 people on your way to the show.
At the minimum.
You know, JV, can you bring up the next slide, which I think is most likely the X-Men slide?
Nah, it's the Green Lantern slide.
All right, Green Lantern. JV, did you watch Lanterns yet?
I have not. I was catching up on Reacher actually, so
All right,
I'll
sweet.
check out Lanterns probably tomorrow.
All right, sweet. Lauren, did you see the first episode of Lanterns yet?
Unfortunately not. I've actually forgot that it was on. But I'm probably going to end up watching it later this weekend. Are they doing new episodes every week?
Yep.
And when do the new episodes come on?
I believe they're dropping Sunday at 9.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll.
I didn't watch it until like Monday, right before Monday Night Raw.
Well, maybe I'll, because I got a local comic show that I'm doing Sunday, so maybe I'll just.
It's a cool cover.
Yeah, it's cool, but without spoiling anything, I like what they're doing. I like the interplay between Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart so far, and I'm in for the ride. You've seen any increase in demand for Green Lantern stuff on the secondary market in the last couple of weeks?
On my end, no. Although I did sell a first appearance of Guy Gardner over the weekend at Fanboy Expo. Or I'm sorry, not Fanboy. Fan Expo Chicago.
Nice.
But I honestly haven't had a like an increase in Green Lantern sales at all. But that might change later on. Because we didn't get an increase in Peacemaker merchandise until like later on in the series. With the exception of his first appearance.
Yes, and the only thing I do well with right now with my Peacemaker stuff is my 2 John Cena, signed photos.
Oh, nice.
Just because I took the OGs and I made prints out of them.
Great.
And just let everyone know, hey, this and I show everyone the OG autograph and say this is what the OG of what you're getting. I just keep the OG, and then I'm able to do like $10 prints, which are authentically signed.
Very cool.
Just a way to recoup a little of his signing fee.
Well, he ain't cheap. Matter of fact, I think he actually was at Steel Shitty a couple weeks ago.
He was at NostalgiaCon back in July, and with taxes, I dropped like $195.
Well, I actually went ahead at Fan Expo and dropped money on Kurt Russell's signature.
I saw that, man. How was that experience?
Well, I didn't go see him because I'm too busy to stand in lines.
Yeah,
and I'm not like a starstruck person, so I didn't really care if I met him or not. But I had a facilitator go and get the signature for me. I paid for it. I didn't get it for free, but the book that I had him sign was the 1 in 100 variant to Big Trouble in Little China, Old Man Jack #1.
That's awesome.
It was a 1 in 100 variant that was already pre-signed through Boom Studio by John Carpenter.
That's amazing.
So since Baltimore is going to be doing on-site grading and JSA verification, I'll just give it to Baltimore and I'll get the book there.
That's nice. I have been. I may actually, if I do can make it to Baltimore, we'll finally drop off my Cap 600 signed by Chris Evans to get the CGC certified JSH Rementa.
Yeah, that's been a kind of a boon to the industry. Even though CBCS did it first, it's just better that CGC did it.
That's cool, and it'd be nice to finally, pop my cherry in that arena to see how their, how their labels and casing in that department looks up to the way the CBCS ones used to.
Well, and nothing against the people who work at CBCS, but CBCS stood for me, can't buy, can't sell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I mean, I still have some CBCS stuff left, but it doesn't sell that well. CGC is the Coca-Cola of the industry. CBCS was the Pepsi-Cola of the industry, and PGX was the off-brand RC Cola that you find at the gas stations or the drugstores.
Yeah, that's fair. And like I said, the only thing I get left from my CBCS stuff is celebrity autographs on comics that I had to get verified after the fact.
Yeah, so there was a show a couple years ago where, and I'm probably not pronouncing his name right, Ben Fuji. He was the guy who was in the Ultraman suit back in the 60s. And he was for some reason, they got him to do the Grand Rapids Comic Con in Kalamazoo, which the name made no sense, but whatever. And CGC did not have a facilitator there, but they did have a CBCS facilitator there. So he witnessed all the signatures that I got.
That's awesome.
So
that is.
I still have those on the website.
Sweet. Did you ever sell those RoboCop books you bought that were already autographed?
Well, I sold the main one that was signed by what's his face?
Yeah, it was the one that was signed by Weller.
By who?
By Peter Weller.
Yes, that one sold. I still have the other one that was signed by and I can't remember her name now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, the one that played his partner in crime.
Yeah, I still have that. That one's actually relatively inexpensive. I think I have that one at like $100, and nobody's bid on it yet.
Yeah, like I said, I actually met her at a sci-fi show a couple years back, and got a couple copies of the DVD signed.
So here's a little story that I've told a couple people, but not everybody. A few years ago at New York Comic Con, this older gentleman came up to me with, I'm assuming his girlfriend or relative or whatever. And he came up to my booth and he was like, "Hey, can I take a look at that piece of original artwork up there?" And I forgot what it was from a 1960s book. And I was like, "Yeah, here you go." And he was showing the woman that he was with, "Yeah, this is how we used to do it back in the day. The pencil would draw it and, they would get inked and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, what's your name? What books did you work on?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'd rather not say." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, got to respect the privacy, but I was just curious. Come to find out later on, through letters that somebody else had gotten, that person was Steve Ditko. He was actually walking through the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that actually explains I'd rather not say part of it.
I'm sorry?
So that explains I would rather not say who I am part of it.
Right. I mean, I know he was cantankerous before, but I'm just glad I actually got to meet him, even though I didn't know it was him at the time. Me and a couple other dealers were just like, who is this guy? He says he worked on something, but he doesn't want to say. And then I was just like, well, I mean, I'm not going to bug him. I mean, and then we found out through letters from somebody from Steve Ditko that he was at that show on that date. So that was actually pretty cool.
That's awesome. There's a documentary I know that's coming out on Ditko soon that I'm looking forward to checking out. Speaking of documentaries, did you see anything from the new Stan Lee documentary?
I have not, mainly out of protest. I know the guy was doing his job, but if there was actual elder abuse, then he had every right to report it. The sad thing is I knew Max, his handler, and he always treated me very nice. But I guess there's some stuff coming out that does not paint him into a good picture.
Yes. Honestly, and I thought about either interviewing the filmmaker or watching it, and I decided I'd rather just remember the good times with Stan.
Yeah. That's probably the best.
And not have to remember times of him being asleep while signing or all the other shit that allegedly may or may not have happened. And I'm only saying that because, I was told to say allegedly, and that's it in this whole little thing.
Right. It's all alleged.
Yeah, so, that's it. JB, can you bring up the X-Men slide, please? Since we got news this past weekend, what do you think about Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister?
I'm actually looking forward to that. That's actually some pretty good casting right there. I'm glad I'm sitting on a few copies of his first appearance. I'll tell you that.
I'm happy at this. I'm actually happy. I actually have 2 copies of the So Much Fun variant too.
I actually used to have a copy of that. It was graded a 9.2, and I sold it because at the time nobody knew what that variant was, so they were going for stupid amounts of money. They've calmed down since then, but it's still pretty cool that I actually had a copy of that.
Yeah, I actually think the 239 is the book I'm actually betting on a little bit more because of the first cover appearance.
Every once in a while, you can find those relatively inexpensive. I actually, I was at a show in Dayton, Ohio, and the guy was set up with about 50 long boxes of dollar books, and I found 5 copies of his first cover appearance in there.
That's awesome. What do you think of some of the rest of the casting? Because I'm actually quite impressed.
Some of it seems inspired. I know there are people who are complaining about the casting of Professor X, and I'm just like, just let it go. There are some really unenlightened people out there. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I belong to the eBay horror story group, so yeah, I that shows the intelligence of America right there.
And speaking of eBay, I still deal with some of these awesome quote customers, end quote.
That's putting it off lightly. I've you posting that stuff brings me endless hours of entertainment.
Yeah, my favorite one, my most favorite recent one was the guy arguing with me because I wouldn't lower the price on something. And towards the end, I was like, look, I'm sorry that you don't like the attitude. I don't know how to talk to poor people anymore.
I saw that, and I had to remember I was sitting in the office chair and I have to lean back to fall.
Yeah, I just, you know, treat me with a little bit of decorum, and I won't talk to you like that.
Yeah, I think the one where I'm like, when is this going to end? It was the 9.8 or 9.9 graded Bronze Age X-Men book you had.
Oh, that guy. I forgot about that. And that wasn't even eBay. The guy actually found my contact info and texted me about it. And I don't know if he was talking in broken English on his phone or he was typing it, voice to text, or he was actually typing it, or I don't know what was going on, but it was funny because my wife was just like, "Why don't you just block him?" I go, "Yeah, I should, but I'm really having a lot of fun with this." And then when I actually sold it, I remember this because we were at my mother-in-law's for her birthday, and my phone goes off, and I'm like, "Oh, I sold that book that guy only wanted to pay X amount for." So I sent the guy a picture of the ended listing. I was like, "Hey, do you like apples?" And I sent him a picture of the completed listing. I'm like, "How do you like them there apples?"
I saw that and I laughed my ass off.
So, and then he wanted to. Well, I just picked up a book that was that was a 9.8 signed by Stan Lee. I'll send you a picture of it, and I got nothing. So I really just don't care.
Yeah. But like I said, I think we should have a wait and see attitude with the X-Men right now. The movie doesn't even come out to 2028. I
No.
think Sadie Sink is a good start.
Yeah, so far, I mean, I saw Spider-Man and I did like it.
Amazon stop.
Yeah, there were a couple bits in there that I was like, well, they could have shortened this or they could have explained that, but overall, it was what it was, and it was quite enjoyable.
That's true. I do know a couple. There was a couple with a 6-year-old who may have had to cover the kid's ears twice when the Punisher blurted out "holy shit" and "or goddamn it" a couple times.
Shouldn't be
Yeah,
taking
but
this.
outside of that, I mean, I thought the movie was very well done, and I hope we get more Punisher in live action too now.
I'll be honest, I knew he had to be a little lighthearted in the Spider-Man movie, but he was a little too lighthearted. It was a little too much comedy. But
Yeah,
I understood they needed to do that because it's a Spider-Man film.
yeah. Like I said, I knew they were gonna lighten it up like a good 50% just because the PG-13.
Yeah. So, but it was still a good movie.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. Uh,
I'll tell you what I am looking forward to. It's actually a comic, and the kid in me is really looking forward to it, even though the adult in me is really skeptical. The Marvel Universe meets Star Wars.
Heck
Mini.
yeah, January, bro. As soon as I actually was told by Michael Zapek that I'm going to tell you something, but you have to shake my hand promising you're not going to talk about it on your podcast until it's officially announced.
Well, you're already
When
talking
I was
about
told
it.
that, I was like, holy crap.
Okay. What is it?
The Marvel Star Wars thing being written by Kevin Smith next year.
Right. I thought you. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to tell me something else.
No. It's just I had to sit on the information for a while.
Well, I met Kevin Smith a few months ago at a show in Michigan called Astronomicon.
Ah, sweet.
So it's the one show that he comes to where the line is big, but it's not like immense like it would be at like New York or any of the other larger shows. He took his time with every fan. Now, I never met him before, so I was like, I finally walked up to him because I wasn't set up at the show. I went there specifically to get some stuff signed to get graded. And, I didn't know this. He's a hugger. I got up to his line. He started hugging me. I was like, oh, I didn't know this is what we do, but okay, this is fine. And then we talked about his books. I was actually the first person to give him a copy of his new Bizarro miniseries to get signed. And then we talked about his Quick Stops 3 miniseries,
Yep.
which I told him, I go, that is probably the best one out of the series that you've done, because it seemed like everything was very, very personal. And he was like, oh man, thank you so much. And after we were done, he hugged me again. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. So, that was a pretty cool experience.
So hopefully, if I can make transportation work, I'll see him again this Sunday at the Secret Stash as he's signing copies of his new Spider-Man Hulk book.
I'll tell you what, if his website, he actually has signed copies of his book, relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, man. They try to keep the cost of his signed stuff reasonable on the Stash.
Which is hilarious, because at the show he was charging a lot for his signature, but at the same time I understood. So I'm almost to the point, like I went to his store because somebody told me, like, hey, the Jay and Silent Bob Jays of Future Past, they have some on their website that are actually signed by both him and Jason Mewes. Like, really? Well, I'm gonna have to go on there and take a look. And I was actually able to get like a couple of the last copies that they had in stock.
Yes, and I think they also still have some copies in the physical shop as well. The last time I was in there.
Well, I do if you don't care about them getting graded, or at the very least getting them JSA certified graded, then I tell people to go that route.
It's actually the easiest route if you're not near an event that he'll be at. I think because I'm in Jersey, I'm just a little more spoiled that now that he's actually doing more comic book work, he's doing a lot more signings. At the Secret Stash. So, but I'm just like you. The adult in me is skeptical, but the kid in me cannot wait.
Oh yeah. I need to find a contact at Marvel, because I'm thinking about maybe doing an exclusive, but it all kind of depends on what they charge for an exclusive now these days. The last exclusive I did with them was, I think it was the Venomized miniseries #1 that we did.
Yeah.
But that was the last thing that we did.
I know I probably still have a copy or two somewhere in the box.
Yeah, we still have some copies of that.
Yeah. Is there ever been a there where it didn't do as well as you thought it was going to do?
Oh yeah, there's been a couple. Well, surprisingly, the Batman 50 did well enough that we were actually in the black. I think the one book that we didn't get into the black, actually was the Harley Quinn book.
Oh, wow.
Well, the main reason was because there were so many exclusives for that issue. It was the first issue. And there was, I want to say there were about 60 or 70 exclusive covers for that book. So even though Mike Allred did mine, there were many others that, they had better covers, so mine got kind of lost in the wayside.
Yeah, and for me, your Harley Quinn, 8 homages, the Flash 123, which is always awesome.
Yeah, I like that one.
And it was for me. It was Michael and Laura Allred who you know, my top 5 favorite artists of all time between what they've done for movie as well as comics.
And then we did the Dark Knight 3 #1 exclusive, which we finally got into the black on that. Or is it the red? You know what? I always get those two confused. We finally made our money back on it. It took a little while. It was done by Matt Wagner, and it was a great cover.
See, that one I don't remember either for some reason.
Well, it was a close-up of the Joker with the batarang in his eye.
That's pretty sweet.
So it was, I mean, one of the good things about the majority of the covers that I've done is that I get a little bit of creative control. The only two that I didn't were, we did not the Star Wars #1 Boba Fett edition, but it was the prequel to the movie.
Yeah.
And that I had an idea that I wanted to do for that, and they were like, "No, Lucas doesn't want anybody doing any homages or anything. Everything's already pre-done." So that one sold okay, but it didn't do as well as the first one. I didn't get creative control of the absolute Batman that's coming out, but Pablo still knocked it out of the park. And then the Venomized was not. I did not get creative control of that. That was actually a piece that was already done for something else, and Marvel let me use it because the original artist that I wanted on that was John Cassidy, and at the last minute he pulled out. So I was just like, well, what are my choices? Well, we can give you stock images, and they sent me some images that had nothing to do with anything. I was like, I don't want any of these. Like, and again, not to disparage the artist, but like one of the pieces was by Brian Hitch, which was a nice Spider-Man piece, but it had nothing to do with Venomized. So I'm like, yeah, we might as well just cancel everything. He goes, well, hold on, we have this other piece that we were going to save for something, but we'll let you use it. And it was by Francesco Mattina. And that was at the point, it was at the time when nobody knew he was doing like AI work. And
this is before he got busted for everything, even the first time around.
Right. So so they let me use that. And man, were a lot of dealers who were doing exclusive pissed at me. One guy called me up and goes, "How did you get a Mattina piece?" I'm just like, I threatened not to do the cover. And they wanted money, so they pulled that out of the archives. So he was a little ticked about that, and I had the hottest Venomized cover that came out that week. We went through half the copies before they came out. He pre-sold. It was limited to 3,000. We didn't do like a full, or we didn't do a black and white or a virgin, because I was just like, we're just gonna do the one variant and that's it. We sold half the print run before the book came out.
Awesome. As we start to wind up, do you miss having a brick and mortar at all?
With every shot so far, no. There are times where I do miss the shop, but not having the shop for me frees me up to do multiple things. For example, the exclusives. I'm not beholden to ordering everything. So, like for example, Action Comics, we would have to order a set amount for our subscribers, and then whatever that I deemed necessary for the shelf. And we would keep stuff up for 5 weeks, and then whatever was left over was, I don't want to say dead merchandise, but we would order 25 copies of Action Comics, and we would have like 15 subscribers, so I would have 10 copies on the shelf, and I would hope that within the 5 weeks we would sell those 10 copies. And most of the time we did. Sometimes we didn't, and that's just the way that goes.
Yep.
But honestly, in this market, it's just better for me. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, but it's speculation. I mean, I did absolute Batman ones in not as heavy as I wanted to because there was so many other things that were coming out that week that I had to allocate for a certain amount. But after that, we went full. We just went full on ordering issues.
Yeah, I think I was a little lighter on one and the two than I wanted to be, and then from like 3 on, I was in all the way.
So I remember I was at Baltimore Comic Con like the week before the FOC for the book, and me and a couple of retailers, we were talking at dinner, and the subject of Absolute Batman came up, and they're like, "Well, how many are you going to order?" And my one friend was like, "Well, I'm going to order 50 copies." And my one friend is like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to order 60 to 70." Lauren, how many are you going to order? I'm like, "Well, I'm ordering 200." Really? I'm like, "Yeah, it's coming out the week before New York, and I have a feeling it's going to be the hottest book of the show." So then my other friend, Chris, I was like, "Well, Chris, how many are you going to order?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to order 8." I'm like, "You're ordering 800? That's impressive." He goes, "No, 8 copies." And I'm just like, 8 copies? My God. Yeah, have you read the PDF on it? This book is going to be hot. Yeah, I can't get past the logo. I was like, "Well, that's dumb." I go, "Chris, why don't you do this? Order 100 copies. That way you'll get all the ratio variants. And whatever you don't sell, whether within a month, a week, an hour, call me up, tell me how many you have. I will buy them all from you at cost, and I'll pay for the shipping. That way you're not stuck with anything." "Yeah, I really can't do that to you." Like, "I want you to do that to me." I go, because you're going to be my little safety net. And I'll be your safety net because if you don't think you'll be able to sell them, you just call me up and I'll take every copy. I have no problem with that. Because I know I'll sell all my copies in New York, because New York is a totally different beast.
I remember that convention very well because that was the year we had the big Spawn fight.
That was great.
Yeah, which you and I had ringside seats to. That's all we didn't have was popcorn that morning.
Yeah, so yeah, and it was funny too because during setup I was asking that guy, I was like the guy who was doing, because he was set up right next to me. I was like, "Okay, will I be able to get any copies?" He's like, "No, it's only for the attendees." I go, "Do you have any qualms about me putting up signs at my booth stating that I will pay X amount of money for your Spawn variants?" Because he was limiting them to 2 per person. I go, "This isn't even going to last you an hour." He goes, "Well, that's what Image wants me to do." I was like, "Okay, whatever." So I put up signs in my booth. "I will buy your Spawn." I forgot the issue number, but I will buy them for $100 each. And they were selling them for 30. So I had people come up to me after they bought them, and they were like, "Why are you paying 100?" I go, "Because he won't sell them to me because I'm a dealer." He goes, "Yeah, but I mean, why would I sell it to you?" I go, "Well, you're allowed 2." He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you really need 2 or do you need 1?" He goes, "Well, just the 1." I go, "Right." So they're $30 each. So you buy both of them for $30 each. That's $60. I pay you for one for 100. And then you not only do you have some money in your pocket, your book is free. And it was surprising how many people did it.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't find out till later in the day. I would have been eligible to be in that line if I just only showed my press pass badge and all the other 2 badges I had around my neck at the same time that morning.
Well, it worked out for some people that, tell you what, the dealers, the vendors there were were pissed, and it was a couple of vendors that got into that shoving match. Where
Yeah, one of my best friends was involved in the shoving match.
Really?
Yeah, my friend who last year gave me the birthday gift at your booth.
Oh, okay.
Great kid. He's, like I said, has his own, disabilities, and once he thinks something's funny, especially when it happens to me, it's, one rib after the other. So I just want to know how he's going to top last year's birthday gift.
Oh, we'll find out. I know that security came by when that incident happened and told the guy next to me, like, hey, we're going to shut you down if you can't control this. And he was pissed. I don't think he's had a big variant like that ever since then.
No, they have not.
Although I'm pretty sure they'll have an absolute Batman for that show.
It seems like every time I turn around, there's another absolute Batman variant coming up.
But people like them. People collect them.
That's true, man.
Well, I actually had a guy come up to me at Fan Expo. He bought a couple of the Felix blind bags, and he got a couple of the Daniel Warren Johnson foil variant for number 22. And he didn't need the duplicate, so he traded them to me. And he even told me, he's like, oh man, you are actually giving me the best price in trade. I go, well, what prices have you been getting? What quotes have you been getting? And he's like, the highest quote I got was $25.
Ouch.
I'm like, come on, we all know what it is. I go, it's not very difficult to even look on eBay to see what the copies of clothes for. And my whole thing is, if I don't have it and I know I can sell it, I'll give you fair trade for it.
Yep. Excuse me, JD, I believe that was the last thing on the hit list, correct?
Yes, the X-Men was the last thing.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I guess my final question for the night is, what advice would you give to someone setting up at their first comic book convention?
There's a couple things. A, make sure all your stuff is priced. Nobody likes to go up to a vendor and be like, hey, how much is that? And be like, oh, let me look it up. Because I got to see what it's going for on eBay or whatever. That's irritating. Always always talk to your customers. There are dealers who just sit there and just ignore the customers, and it's still a customer-based business. And, just be pleasant.
All right, cool.
Until it's time to not be pleasant. Because I don't need somebody coming up to me, arguing with me about a book that they think I'm overpriced on, and I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, I just don't know how to talk to poor people anymore.
All right, we're gonna have to get you a T-shirt with that person on it.
Ooh, I might actually have to wear something like that.
Well, I want to just say thank you for being a guest tonight.
No worries.
And I just want to say, as always, thank you for the last almost 30 years of friendship now.
It hasn't been 30 years.
Like I said, thanks for,
Has it been 30 years?
Almost. Something like next March, it will actually be 30.
Really?
Yeah, because we met on one of those old-fashioned message boards back in '97.
Oh my God. God, I feel old.
So do I, man.
Well, thank you for having me on. As always, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully I'll see you at Baltimore, but I'll definitely see you in New York. If you need water or anything during the week, let me know.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You have a great night, and we will be in touch, my friend.
Awesome. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Everyone, eBay / Comic Pop Collectables. Go get your absolute Batman 24 variants there. You know, and you know, want to give a special thanks to my homie, my tag team partner, JV Wheels, the chairman, for producing tonight's show, for making the show look awesome each and every week.
I always got you, brother.
Yep. You can follow him everywhere at JV Wheels _ everywhere on the internets.
Indeed.
You know, hopefully in another month or two, Twitch will come back. And
Yeah, I'm planning on it. So, I got some personal stuff to take care of first.
exactly.
But
That's why, that's why tonight, with all the personal stuff I have going on, I was able to make this show work the way it worked.
yeah, man.
Everyone, you can follow me at Instagram at The Real Blind Adam, TikTok at The Real Blind Adam, eBay Blind Adam, Minivids Blind Adam. I'll have new stuff on there eventually. Like as long as I get the personal stuff out of my life, I'll have more brain power to do stuff. Twitter /X, which I'm shadow banned on. I'm the Comic Pimp there. Whatnot Comic Pimp VIP. I think I'm gonna do a test show maybe Sunday. Depends if I make it to the Kevin Smith event on Saturday or not. Because Kevin will be signing copies of his new book at the Secret Stash, 65 Broad Street, Red Bank, New Jersey, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. The line is being extremely capped at 5. So if you get after 5, you're going to have no shot of getting in. And there's a $37 package, there's a $69 package, and a $99 package. To everyone who gets in there, have a blast. See you guys here next week. I love you all. Keep one foot in the gutter, one fist in the gold. Blind Adam out. Amazon.